Media. Hillary had far more ties to Russia and you ignored them. White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer schooled the media Thursday during a news conference when asked about President Donald Trump's former campaign chairman, Paul Manafort's ties to Russia. Spicer reminded reporters of former presidential candidate Hillary Clinton's campaign manager, John Podesta, who sat on the board of a Kremlin-backed energy company that received millions from a Russian government fund, and his brother, Tony Podesta, who lobbied against sanctions on Russian banks. Spicer said these facts were tied to Clinton, who was the face of the failed Russia reset policy. He also said that those things were not even close to her most significant role in regard to Russia. As Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, along with Obama administration, approved a deal that gave Russia 1/5 of America's uranium reserves, he said. Hillary's husband, former President Bill Clinton, received over $500,000 by a paid speech by a bank connected to the uranium deal. And Vladimir Putin personally called the former president and thanked him for giving the speech. He then pointed to the utter hypocrisy of the mainstream media by calling attention to how Manafort, who worked with a Russian entity a decade ago and worked for less than 5 months with the Trump campaign, is the subject of a rampant media speculation all day long. Meanwhile, he said, reporters ignore the fact that the Clintons had much more extensive ties to Russia. Let's take a look here.
And similar to the work of Tony Podesta, a Clinton campaign fundraiser whose brother John chaired Hillary Clinton's campaign. Last year, not last decade, Tony Podesta lobbied against sanctions for Russia's largest bank. And John Podesta, Clinton's campaign chair, sat on the board of a Russian-based energy company. This was something tied to Hillary Clinton, who was the face of the failed Russia reset policy. So it's not even close. That's what we're talking about now isn't even close to her most significant role with respect to Russia. As Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, along with the Obama administration, approved a deal that gave Russia 1/5 of America's uranium reserves. Hillary's husband, former President Bill Clinton, received over $500,000 by a paid speech by a bank connected to the uranium deal, and Vladimir Putin personally called the former president and thanked him for giving the speech. So an individual who worked for less than the campaign for 5 months for the president's 2-year-long campaign, who worked with a Russian entity a decade ago, is the subject of rampant media speculation all day long, even though the Clintons had much more expensive and extensive ties. Well, as Secretary of State, Hillary was crafting a policy she said was designed to, quote, strengthen Russia. And to be clear, the president has no personal financial dealings with Russia. His ties are limited to hosting a contest in Russia once and selling a Palm Beach home to a businessman in 2005. That's it. And former members of the media trying to conflate Paul's role and activities with Monday's hearing, I have another reminder. Numerous individuals, including former Obama Director of National Intelligence James Clapper and acting CIA Director Mike Morrell, and members of the Intelligence Committee from both parties who have been briefed, have said across the board that they have seen zero evidence of any collusion between the Trump campaign and Russian officials. And that's not going to be changed by a former business dealings of a
Spicer nailed it with this response. He pointed out how the left-wing media love to speculate about people like Manafort, but refuse to address serious issues with prominent liberals in politics. Democrats should be ashamed of themselves for continuing to pursue the Trump-Russia connection for as long as they have. But they have no shame. I agree. Let us know what you think in the comment section below. Give it a thumbs up if you like it. Thank you.